Supposedly, this house is equal to the Sallie house.
Hopefully it's not, because if it is, we're probably in some trouble.
This is no ordinary home. It's referred to as the Demon House.
This family has shared their story on a number of TV shows, and they say it took years of visits from paranormal investigators and even priests to calm those evil spirits inside the home.
The people that do live here, they won't go in it. They leave it untouched.
Dude! I just saw the door!
No way!
Oh! Wait!
One of the most documented cases of demon possession and exorcism in recent history. They say demons were taking over.
Where one priest says the evil spirits came from.
Dude!
What? Did it just close it on you?
Closed.
If I were to say the words haunted castle to you, your mind would probably conjure up an image something like this. This is Chillingham Castle. And even the name sounds like something fantastic I've made up specifically to talk about ghosts. But I assure you this location has a long and storied history. In the 12th century, it was the home to a monastery. By the 13th century, because of increasing incursions from Scottish forces, this castle was built. Edward I, the Hammer of the Scots, led his Scottish campaigns from this location. Over the years, it's been host to royals, been home to several noble families, but now it's probably best known as the home to dozens of ghosts. But unlike other medieval ghost stories, these ones come to us from a little later in time. The first recorded accounts of the ghosts of Chillingham Castle were penned by Lady Leonora Tankerville. She moved here from the US after marrying the Earl of Tankerville in 1895, during what was something of a golden age for ghost stories. Imagine an American interested in medieval ghosts. The Victorian and Edwardian eras were a time of great modernization and secularism, with major shifts away from religious explanations of the natural world. But the flip side of all this worldly rationalism was that it actually increased interest in the occult and spiritualism. Ghost stories were a hugely popular part of fiction, as people became increasingly interested in the paranormal, seances, and finding different ways of interacting with the dead. Places like Chillingham found themselves in the middle of this spiritualist revival. Sherlock Holmes author and notable believer in the supernatural, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, wrote to Lady Tankerville to commend her reports of the Chillingham ghosts. From the 15th century onwards, the castle had been a seat of the Grey, Bennett, and later Tankerville families. I met with its current owner, married to a member of the original Grey family, Sir Humphrey, who has taken great care in the castle renovations.
This great castle was built really to keep the Scots out of England. It began being one strong tower, and in the 1200s, 1300s, they built 3 more towers, and then they built between the towers for the king to come and stay, to make it into a worthwhile palace. And so in this room here, you see ancient tower there, and this room just built between for the king and the rooms above. So it's been like that ever since, really.
You know, with so much battle and action and so much back and forth, you know, on the Scottish borders here, it's really no wonder, I think, that we get so many reports of ghosts.
In the 18th century, there was a figure who spent his time wailing and moaning and shimmering in blue. Digging between the castle walls, join up 2 rooms, they found the bones of a child and they buried it, and that solved that problem. But when I restored that room, my guests kept saying, "You must have electric fault there because there's a flash of blue on the edge of the door." Well, there's no electrics there at all. We must have left a toe bone or knee bone. When I first came here, it had a reputation as a haunted place. There was a lovely priest who was one of the family. He said, "Well, look, I go all around the country getting rid of ghosts, so I'll do that."
Yep.
And so he came along, and next morning he said, "There's too many, I can't deal with them."
So that sounds fairly creepy. And it seems that the ghosts Leonora documented over 100 years ago are still hanging around and causing trouble for today's residents.
Ghost scene in old church. 2 women were taking pictures near the old church in Goldfield, Arizona, at night. The church sits alone at the top of the town. The church was dark, and the door should have been locked. But after one of the women took a picture of the other, the church behind them looked like this. Who or what is that standing in the doorway? Upon seeing the photo, the 2 women looked back and saw the church dark again. They left immediately to their car parked nearby.
Defying gravity. What do you think?
So we're in a storm right now, and this car literally just drove up this, I don't even know what happened. I think the wind took it. But this is what's happening right now in Suffield on Mountain Road.
David Eckhart is asleep in his bedroom. A closed-circuit camera mounted above the bed captures the room bathed in a soft yellow light coming from an open door. Suddenly, the camera picks up something alarming. A short, skinny humanoid figure begins slowly peeking out from behind the open door. David does not stir from his sleep as little by little, the figure creeps further into the doorway, revealing a bizarrely slender leg, seemingly just a few inches in diameter, then an oblong head and eventually its whole body. It resembles otherworldly beings commonly described as Greys, and this apparently wasn't the first time David has seen one. David wouldn't be the first to report repeated visits from extraterrestrials.
It's very rare.
That's so freaking creepy.
It was about the Euphrates River drying up, and a video of a guy that apparently found a cave, and he started to hear strange noises, so he recorded it. And my dog was sleeping in bed, and as soon as I put it on, she woke up, and she got freaked out, pretty much, and she still seems a little on edge. Check it out.
Hear strange sounds coming from inside of it. Check this out.
This horrifying video has recently been going viral. This video was captured somewhere in India. In the video, a strange, eerie-looking humanoid figure can be seen strolling down the road. The video was recorded on the Shardara Dam Bridge by a group of bikers. The bikers were just going for an innocent ride late at night. Who knew they would have ran into something like this? This is something straight out of a horror film. No one truly knows what the strange creature was. Some people claim it was an alien, and others think it was a ghost or something paranormal.
Something in the trees. In this next clip, a farmer in India is out at night searching for some missing sheep using a night vision camera. He doesn't find his sheep, but he does find something. In the video, we can see what looks like an angry creature of some kind perched in a tree as if ready to pounce. The farmer sounds petrified and runs away. And if this clip is for real, I guess we can safely assume the worst when it comes to what happened to those missing sheep. So is this an angry creature hanging from the trees? Or is it just some really good CGI work? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Under the bridge. A man filming the skyline along a highway in Kiev, Ukraine gets a shock when he pans his camera over to a large pedestrian bridge. Something appears to be quickly scaling along the underside of the bridge, 80 to 100 feet in the air. But whatever it is doesn't exactly look human. The mysterious figure seems to have very long arms, and as it effortlessly crawls upside down underneath the bridge, it seems to be using its feet to crawl along the bridge as well as its hands. Now, there are certainly no species of apes or monkeys indigenous to the area. So, just what is this mysterious?
While it's possible the skeletal arrangement in the previous segment was something out of an art installation,
This next piece of freaky footage could be something out of a horror movie. Uploaded to YouTube by user Bizmax TV, this piece of footage comes to us from a haunted bunker discovered in Saudi Arabia. As the footage begins, the bunker is wide open, and otherworldly guttural screams are heard being emitted from within.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
While the claims of the area being haunted predate the capture of this footage, it's clear that this footage would only exacerbate those claims. Behind the camera, a man is heard reciting verses of the Quran in order to drive away whatever demonic presence they've found in the bunker.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Malik Yawm Ad-Din.
Perhaps most disturbingly, whatever the entity is, it seems to respond to the Quran verses. It appears to scream in agony in response to them, as though the verses themselves were causing them physical pain. The intense screams and their increased response to the holy man's chanting only serves to add fuel to the fire of the theory that the bunker is haunted, leading viewers to hope that the people present in the video made it out of the area in one piece. If you watch closely, you'll see why. Something large is looming just behind it. Whatever it is, it seems to be too broad to be human. It was just a routine day when Officer Marco Castillo was booking a domestic violence offender. There was a creepy man in cell number 1 who kept quietly staring at him, but that wasn't unusual in a jail. A few hours later, his sergeant asked him to check the paperwork to see if any prisoners needed to be transported to the county jail. When Castillo went into the jail, he panicked. Cell number 1 was empty. Everyone began investigating and they quickly discovered the man was never booked. They looked at the security footage from earlier in the day. They saw him sitting there in the cell. But once all 4 of the officers left the room, he suddenly disappeared. They transferred the footage from a VHS tape to a USB drive, and the man was missing from the footage entirely. However, they could see other prisoners in nearby cells talking in his direction. To this day, Castillo is nervous about going into that part of the building alone. No one has any explanation as to who the man in cell number 1 could be. The trees protruding through the driver's side of the car, yet the owner of the vehicle doesn't seem to be around. It's almost as though the car fell from the air and got skewered by the tree. But at one point we see the top of the tree and its foliage is completely intact. A woman is giving an interview on camera. In the background, it looks like a dog gets pushed by some kind of unseen force. It certainly looks like something invisible is shoving the dog.